Hello and welcome back to the channel of Nonsense and a review of a 7-seater family SUV that's named after the really nice bit of Italy that's right next to the not so nice bit of Italy. No, it's not the Kia Naples, it's the Kia Sorento. Hey, it's been facelifted for 2024. It's got new looks, it's got some new tech, and yes, the airport tax is still €100 no matter where you want to go, even if you don't want to go to the horrible bit. Especially if you don't want to go to the horrible bit. Has this car got any horrible bits? Am I just melting in the sun? Let's get on with it. Right, so nonsense aside, what is a Kia Sorento? Well, it's a 7-seater SUV with 3 rows of seats. It now costs from £42,000 for this 2.2 litre diesel version. There's a hybrid version for 43 grand and a plug-in hybrid for 47 grand. But you'll probably want to add 4 grand to each of those prices to get you up to the mid-spec 3 model, which is what I've got here, which has got all the features that you actually want and need. But yeah, it's not Kia's flagship anymore. It was always Kia's most expensive car. That now belongs to the EV9, which is bigger than this and is roomier than this and is electric only. This is a more traditional rival to the likes of the new Skoda Kodiaq, which I've just reviewed. So I'm going to be comparing this to that car. Let's start off by saying the Skoda Kodiaq starts from 37 grand, so it's already cheaper than this. But is this better? Let's go. Don't know what that was. I'm getting old. I can't do cool hand gestures anymore. I've never been able to do cool hand gestures. Look at me. Now, the biggest change for the facelift has rather helpfully been the Sorento's face. It's got the face from the EV9, so you've got vertically stacked headlights with daytime running lights. You've got a redesigned lower bumper. What you haven't got is an exciting range of paint colours. I mean, come on, Kia. I've looked at the configurator for this, and you can get it in this mineral blue. You can get it in grey, 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 another grey, black, white, grey. Oh, there is a green. It's called Cityscape Green. Like, what part of a cityscape is green? Like the algae on a tramp's foreskin? I don't really know. But anyway, you get LED headlights on all models. They get upgraded to slightly fancier ones on 3 and 4 models with a low beam assist with 4 cubes that can block out stuff, I think. But yeah, it looks quite nice though. Just not quite as cool as the EV9 it's trying to rip off. The cabin of the updated Sorento is actually a lot more modern looking when you compare it back to back with the old version. Now, all models get this 12-inch touchscreen infotainment system in the middle there, which is quite good, and it's actually now got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You used to have to plug in to get that on the old Sorento. You also get heated front seats and the steering wheel is standard. The digital dashboard behind the steering wheel only comes on 3 and 4 models, so if you get a 2, you get analog dials with a little 4-inch digital screen in between them. So again, I do think you want a 3 model to get all the stuff, because you also only get the wireless charging mat down there on a 3 model. You only get the black leather seats on a 3 model. They go to Napa leather, I think, if you step up and get a 50 grand 4 model. You also don't get ambient lighting unless you get a 3 model. Kia really does want you to buy the 3 version. Another thing that you get is a rather decent, it's not going to focus, 12 speaker Bose surround sound system, which is pretty good, but again, only on a 3 model. But I do really like it in here. There are a few little quibbles, things I don't love, so I'm still not a fan of the Kia Sportage's flippy between aircon controls and shortcuts. You've got heated seat controls there. You've got a drive mode dial down here with normal, eco, sport, smart, sand, mud and snow, because this is 4-wheel drive. That's your heated steering wheel button there. It's a bit buttony, but I don't mind that. I prefer that over everything being in a touchscreen. You've got a big old bin down here with a lid on it. You've got reasonable sized door bins down there. They're not felt lined. And you've got a pretty big glove boxes there as well there, which is kind of suede lined. But yeah, it looks more modern. It's got everything you really need in here on this 3 model. But what if you do want to step up to the Big Daddy 4? Well, that adds black Napa leather, a digital rear view mirror, so you can flick between an actual mirror and a camera on the back of the car, a head-up display, a panoramic sunroof, ventilated front seats, a digital key, fingerprint recognition, so you can start the car with your finger. No jokes. You also get remote smart parking where you can drive the car backwards and forwards from the key, and you get an electrically adjustable steering column. So that's on the top spec 4 model. Middle row seat space in the Sorento is gargantuan. I think it's ever so slightly more knee room in this than in the new Kodiaq, but there's not much in it. Loads of footroom there, loads of headroom. It's not even got much of a lump in the floor, so your middle seat passengers have got a nice wide seat and nothing interfering with their pedicures. You've got a 12-volt socket down there, some air vents, you've got USB-Cs in the side of the front seat, so everyone can charge stuff. I've got a proper cup holder here and a fairly measly door bin for a bottle of water, but that's kind of offset by the fact I've got a cup holder. I also have heated outer rear seats in this 3 model, and yeah, it is really comfy back here. You can also sit the seats up or recline them like that have completely disappeared. And you can also slide them forward a bit and backwards, which makes getting into the third row a bit easier. And I'm now going to do that at the expense of all dignity as usual. While I'm talking about the back seats, I should point out that this 3 model has got window blinds as well, so your children don't have to turn to Big Macs when they get in the sun. And also you get tinted rear windows, but only on the 3 models. Also rear side airbags, only on 3 models. Get a 3 model. Right, slightly sweaty 6'3" adult, that bit's debatable, tries to get into the back of a Kia Sorento. Press the button here and the seat folds out of your way. I've got a GoPro so you can see what I'm doing. That is the space I've got to get into. And then, yeah, look, I've got knee room, but the person in front doesn't really. So if I could slide that back, which I can't because my arms aren't long enough, I wouldn't really have much knee room. I've got some foot room. I've got no headroom. My sweaty bonce is jammed into the roof. I have got some little cup holders and bits here. Aircon controls, a USB-C, and on the other side, a USB-C, an aircon vent, and some cup holders. It's not bad, it's not great, but you're not going to put adults back here, are you? No. Big development though, the rear seats in the Sorento have got Isofix. That's really rare, so you could actually put a child seat back here, but I think you would have to slide all of this stuff quite far forward. But you can actually fit children in the back seats, which is really rare. You don't normally get Isofix in the rear seats of 7-seaters, which makes them a bit pointless for carrying small children, but there we go. Right, I'm sweating, let's do the rest of it. Now, you probably won't be surprised to hear that the Kia Sorento is a long car. In fact, it's longer than my average McDonald's receipt. It's 4.82 meters long. Now, the Skoda Kodiaq used to be a lot shorter than this, but the new Skoda Kodiaq's got longer. So the new Skoda Kodiaq, if you're keeping up, is only 7 centimeters shorter than this Sorento. But yeah, the wheel sizes on this range from 17 up to 18s, 19s, even 20s on some top spec 4 models. And in terms of trim levels in the UK, it's very simple. Entry level for 42 grand for the diesel engine is called 2, mid spec is 3, that's about 46 grand like this one. And then the top spec 4 model is another 4 grand, so nearly 50 grand for a top spec one of these. The Sorento's bum hasn't had much fondling from the Korean design overlords. It looks much like the pre-facelift one, but these are joined up now. I think it looks quite nice from behind, to be honest. It looks quite butch and quite, yeah, a little bit American almost. You've got a hidden rear wiper up here. You've got a reversing camera on all models. Because this is a mid-spec 3, you get a 360-degree camera. And also on 3 models, you get sequential indicators that swoop like an Audi. And also you get an electric tailgate, the button for which is down there, not up there. I keep getting that wrong. So you do really want a 3 model, unless you want to open that yourself. The boot, 616 litres. It is big, it is vast. Not quite as big as the Skoda Kodiaq, which is over 800 litres in 7-seater form. Now obviously that shrinks if you pull those rear seats up, and you do that quite easily by pulling on these little handles, fabric strips, which have got Velcro on, so you can stick them back down like that to keep things neat. The parcel shelf has got a little cutout here, so you can take it out and put it down there. But it's still not very neat. I'd rather that went under the boot floor. It doesn't fit under there, which is a bit of a shame. But it's a big boot. You've got a 12-volt socket. You can flip the seats down using buttons there. And you've got USB-Cs for your rear seat passengers as well. So it's a big boot, just not as big as the Skoda. It took me ages to film that bit. And I should have mentioned, being a Kia, there aren't really many option packs. It's just you choose your trim level and that's got all the stuff you need, which I do admire, but it does mean that, yeah, you end up spending quite a lot of money. But let's go and hit the road and find out if this £46,000 Kia SUV is better than a 40-odd grand Skoda Kodiaq. And if the aircon's going to stop me sweating anytime soon. Right, we're going to go for a drive in the facelift Sorento. Let's get the aircon going because I am melting. Now, this 2.2 litre diesel is a bit rattly and a bit old school. You certainly know when you've turned it on. It's not the smoothest thing in the world. Let's talk very briefly about how it feels just to sit in it. You feel like you sit up very high. You look over a bonnet that's quite long and it just feels very imperious. You feel like you can lord it over the other hoi polloi who haven't bought a Kia Sorento. They've got a Picanto instead. Video of the new Picanto coming very soon on the channel. But yeah, the steering is nice and light. The ride is actually, it's kind of okay. It's better than the Skoda Kodiaq's, but it's got a bit more cushioning to it. But you still feel bumps in the cabin. It's not a Rolls-Royce Cullinan by any stretch of the imagination. Now, The engines you can get in this, it's the 2.2 diesel. You can get a hybrid, which is a 1.6 petrol of about 212 horsepower. It's one of those self-charging hybrids. And then there's a plug-in hybrid, which has got, again, a 1.6 petrol with 250 horsepower. It could only do about 30 odd miles on a charge though. So that is a bit old school now. The Kodiaq plug-in hybrid that Skoda's now got can do 65 miles on paper on a charge. So yeah, the Kodiaq has got the more up-to-date engines, and the diesel in the Skoda is nicer than the one in this as well. But I've got four-wheel drive, so I'm not worried about going off-road there and getting a little bit muddy. It just deals with it, and it is just a very easy car to drive. You've got lots of kit as well. Even on entry-level 2 models, you've got things like radar cruise control. You don't have to add them on as an option. A top-spec 4 model gets blind spot warning, things like that. Actually, this is a 3 model and it's got it. Whatever. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. But it's just it's a nice car to drive. It's not exciting. It rolls in corners, and round here you're not going to be chucking it around like a sports car. And the gearbox can sometimes take a little while to kick down, but most of the time it's just in the background and not annoying you. Now, this is an exceptionally bumpy road, so if you see me jiggling about, it's because I'm having to take the back roads because someone spilled a load of diesel and twatted all the roads up around where I live. But yeah, it's just a really nice, easygoing family car. Visibility out the back's actually pretty good as well, despite the fact the rear window is miles away, 4 odd meters behind me. Well, it's not, so 3 odd meters behind me. And door mirrors are good. At motorway speeds, it's pretty well refined. There's a bit of wind noise off those mirrors, but not much tyre noise, and it's just easy going. I would say it's a slightly more relaxing car to drive than the new Skoda Kodiaq. But I think I do prefer that car's cabin. That's got a big 13-inch infotainment screen. Lots of people don't like it, but I do. This is better than it used to be, but it's still not up there with the Skoda. I'm off-roading. Why is it on single track country lanes people just drive really fast around blind corners? Maybe I'm an idiot. But yeah, it's punchy. The brakes are nice, easy to modulate, so you can chauffeur your family around without accidentally snapping their necks. Would I get the diesel? I think I probably would. I've driven the plug-in hybrid of the old version, and the extra weight of the battery kind of made the ride a little bit more jiggly and wobbly-bobbly, and I didn't like that. Excuse me if I'm doing technical terms too much. Yes, you're a cyclist in the middle of the road, there's a car coming. Anyway, 2 abreast cyclists aside, this car does bong a lot. It's kind of a Hyundai Kia Genesis thing. They bong when you break the speed limit, so you have to turn the speed limit warning off. That's on all cars though. But it bongs pretty much all the time for one reason or another. And some of them are helpful bongs, so it will bong if there are cyclists coming past you and you're about to open your door. It will bong to stop you opening your door so you don't kill them. That's good. But there's just lots of little bings and bongs, and like when the car in front of you moves off in a traffic jam, it does a little bong. It's got more bongs than Snoop Dogg, is what I'm trying to say. Some of which are helpful, some of which aren't. But yeah, to sum up, it's an easy car to drive. It doesn't really do anything that its rivals don't do. And the diesel engine is a little bit old school and not quite as efficient as some of the others, but it's got plenty of torque. It's got 190 horsepower. It gets the job done. And that's kind of like the Sorento in a nutshell, really. It gets the job done, and it's got a 7-year warranty. But anyway, let's head back to me for an outro while I curb it on this country lane and decide if the Sorento is my favourite 7-seater family SUV. Oh yeah, I should also point out that in this 3 model, when you indicate, you get a little blind spot camera view looking back down the right-hand side of the car. That's been around for years on Kia stuff and Hyundai stuff, but it is quite useful when you're indicating and you're not sure there's a cyclist in your blind spot. Still do a shoulder check, but you can check visually on the dashboard. I think there's cameras basically in the rear view mirrors looking backwards. It's quite clever. Actually, a final word on fuel economy as well. In the past 120 miles this car's driven, admittedly being driven by journalists who have got famously leaden feet, this is average 35 mpg. There's a bong to tell me there's a junction. 35 mpg in the real world, but this would have probably not been driven particularly carefully or kindly or gently. Go on, I'm here. And I've got about 2/3 of a tank of fuel left, and it's saying I can do 352 miles. So my gut instinct is telling me this will do about 550 miles to 600 miles on a tank of diesel if you're careful. The plug-in hybrid won't do that because it's got a small petrol tank and not a massive battery. And the hybrid won't do it either, because it's a petrol and it won't be that efficient if you're doing motorway journeys. Whinge, whinge, whinge. If you're going to buy a big SUV, I still recommend you buy diesel. That's what I'm trying to say. It's odd to think we're in an era now where you can spend £70,000 on a Kia. So a 40 to 50 grand car like this suddenly feels a lot more palatable. And yeah, I think we're used to the fact that Kias like this do feel like proper premium competitors to people like Volkswagen and Audi nowadays. But what do I think of the new facelift Sorento? It's still a really good 7-seater choice. And if you want a 7-seater with a matching 7-year warranty, it's basically your only bet. I also like some other smart things about it, such as having Isofix on the third row of seats. That's kind of blown me away. The infotainment is really nice. The ride is nice. I think it's a bit more comfortable than the latest Skoda Kodiaq. But this 2.2 litre diesel engine, although it's kind of efficient at 42 mpg, it's a bit rattly and it's been around for donkey's years and it's not really been updated, so it feels a bit old school. The Skoda Kodiaq's diesel engines are smoother, a bit punchier and a bit more efficient. Skoda Kodiaq also has a bigger boot on paper as well. So yeah, it is a good car. I think I might still just pick the Skoda though for those reasons, but this is another really great alternative, so just buy the one you like the look of. How's that for a car review? That's just all car reviews, isn't it? I'm just here to justify your opinions that you've got already. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you've liked this video, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, so I've got plenty more car reviews coming up very soon. Go down to the comments and leave me the Korean word for, I didn't think you could secure me in the rear. Let's go. Let's go? No, goodbye.